Good morning and good afternoon to everyone who's joined us today for the sixth COVID-19 Insight series from ADARA. Today, we are joined by Alex Dichter, Senior Partner at McKinsey Company, for his perspective and insights on the current COVID-19 situation. Before our conversation with Alex, Carolyn Corda, Chief Marketing Officer at ADARA, will be sharing the latest data and insights with a focus on travel around the upcoming holiday season. Carolyn Corda is an industry leader in customer data and predictive intelligence. As the Chief Marketing Officer of ADARA, she is responsible for aligning the brand with the company's expanding mission and growth goals. Prior to ADARA, Carolyn was a managing director at Accenture, where she led the applied intelligence practice for the travel sector. Before that role, she was a senior executive at Epsilon with responsibility for developing and launching new data solutions. With that, I'd now like to hand it over to Carolyn to start off with our webinar for today.
Thank you, Naharik, and welcome all. We'll cover three topics today. First, a few notes on our resource center. Then we'll dig into some trends we're seeing for summer holidays here in the U.S. We're delighted to have with us as our special guest, Alex Dichter of McKinsey, who will be interviewed by David Morrow. For those of you who aren't familiar with ADARA, you might wonder where the data I'm sharing today comes from. We have over 270 consumer brands that share their data with us, including some you likely recognize: United, Marriott, Singapore Airlines, and Travelport, to name a few. As a result, we have a lot of data. Typically, we see over 14 billion searches a year and almost 1 billion air and hotel bookings. We're able to get fairly granular on transaction behavior, as most of our 1 billion profiles have on average 30 data points. We've made a lot of our trend available on our website, organized by region, US, EMEA, and APAC. You'll see the URL here, and of course, you're welcome to reach out if you like custom analytics or if you've got questions. Now let's turn to what's new in the data. Over the past few sessions, we've been looking at charts such as these, focused on the daily volume of bookings broken down by advanced booking window, day by day tracking to see if demand was building and for what time period. Most of the activity we've been seeing, as what's circled in this chart as an example, has been 91 days and more out, 3 months out. This week, we're switching the lens. Everyone has been asking whether people are willing to travel again. What's the outlook for summer? So today we're focused on summer holidays and vacations for the US. We isolated 5 holiday periods here on the calendar: Memorial Day, 4th of July, the first half of August, the second half of August, and then Labor Day. We'll be looking at year-over-year demand and identifying the destinations that are most popular. To make sure we factored in the impact of COVID, we're only looking at bookings made during the 6-week period between 15 March and 25 April, both in 2019 and 2020. Before I share what we found, let's do a little experiment. What's your estimate of the year-over-year decline for Labor Day comparing 2019 to 2020? By what percentage is demand down, this is air bookings, compared to the previous year? I'll let you think for a second. And then here's the chart. So every holiday is indeed down, each of those 5 holidays from the previous year, pretty much what you would expect. The top of the chart up here is 0. And so the taller the bar is, the more it is in negative territory. So we start off here at negative 88% for Memorial Day and wind up at negative 23% for Labor Day. How does that compare to the estimate you made? You'll notice also it's a steady track of improvement across the summer. We focused on air travel since even though airlines have relaxed change penalties, it does represent a financial commitment. Now let's look at which destinations are benefiting from this increased demand. The way we'll be reading this chart is the position in the column, as I populate it for that holiday, represents the destination's rank among the top 8 destinations for 2020. We're also going to share the percentage that is a year-over-year comparing 2019 to 2020. So here we go. Here's Los Angeles. And across the different holidays, it's either in 5th place, as it is for 4th of July, or 6th place as we look across the entire summer. You'll see that it improves from a negative 88% to 2019 as a comparison to 32% here by the time we get to Labor Day. Chicago is ranked 3rd early in the summer and then drops down in the latter two holiday periods, second half of August and then Labor Day. On a year-over-year basis, it's about the same level as Los Angeles, but it doesn't recover as much by the end of the year, by the end of summer, Labor Day, only to 44%. Denver pops up to the top slot in the middle of the summer and drops down to 3rd place by Labor Day, though it does post a significant year-over-year level compared to 2019 at down only 19%. Orlando just barely makes the list and only in the middle of the summer, and Phoenix is its bookend for Memorial and Labor Day. Here's the rest of the chart, but more importantly, I'll go ahead and drill into these separately. Obviously, health safety is a big concern when people travel. Here are two locations that have been in the news lately, New York City and New Orleans. Here's how summer is shaping up for them. Compared to 2019 Memorial Day, New York is down 93%. Last year, it was the 2nd most popular destination. This year, it's number 7. It dropped 5 slots within the 2020 between years ranking. For the middle of the summer, and here we're just looking at the 2020 rank, it improves from 7 to 5 from July to the end of August, which is exactly where it stays here at level 5 for Labor Day in 5th place, when last year it was a top destination. However, over the course of summer, it significantly improves its overall demand shortfall to a negative 48%, so from negative 93 to negative 48 for a year-over-year. Let's compare that to New Orleans. New Orleans wasn't that popular last year. It ranked 20 last year. It's ranked 20 this year. It's also significantly down year-over-year at negative 84%. Its rank improves through the middle of summer, and it takes a jump for Labor Day. Last year it was at 18. This year it jumped 4 places to 14, and it has a 10% shortfall in year-over-year demand. There's obviously several factors impacting these two destinations beyond health safety, but that likely does play a role. Next, we'll take a look at some of the most popular destinations for the summer. Let's try another experience. Jot down, or go ahead and put it in the chat box, what you think the most popular destinations for summer are this year. I'll give you a second. Okay, and here's the reveal. Las Vegas is the winner, along with a couple of popular beach destinations. Let's take a look one by one. For Memorial Day, Las Vegas is down 71%, but its rank popped up 10 places from 14 to 4, comparing 2019 to 2020. Its rank drops in the middle of the summer, 15, 11, 8, but it comes back strong in 1st place for Labor Day compared to a ranking of 13 last year. And even more surprising is that year over year, volume is almost 200% higher than last year. That's positive territory, right? That's a doubling. That's huge, particularly given the common wisdom was that people wouldn't want to travel, wouldn't want to spend time in places that tend to attract crowds. Miami follows a similar pattern, a 3-place increase compared to last year, a bit of a drop in the middle of summer, and then a couple of place bumps to 2 for Labor Day. Its year-over-year decline is 12%. Finally, we have Honolulu. And again, a bit of a surprise, given that common wisdom suggested people wouldn't want to take long flights. It gets an 8-slot boost for Memorial Day from 22 to 16, continues to be strong through summer, and actually dropped a place for Labor Day from 8 in 2019 to a 9 ranking in 2020, but still posted only a 33% year-over-year decline. Surely attractive fares and hotel rates figure into these trends. And of course, it'll all change if we continue to be under stay-at-home restrictions. Also noting that Hawaii has taken some steps to limit who comes to the islands and is insisting on some quarantines. Nonetheless, these figures give some visibility into pent-up demand for leisure travel. There's one last element that we uncovered, and it's clearly event focused. And kudos to ADARA's brilliant analytic team for uncovering this gem. Their prediction: mint juleps are the drink of choice for Labor Day. The biggest pop we saw for Labor Day was in and near around Kentucky. The Kentucky Derby got moved from May 2nd to September 5th, and though it wasn't huge volume, we saw huge year-over-year increases for Louisville, over an 8-fold increase. Cincinnati, which is an hour-and-a-half drive from the event, you'll see we made the table with the destination, year-over-year change in demand, and then the distance to the event. So Cincinnati, hour-and-a-half away, saw a 78% jump. Lexington registered a 40% bump, and we think perhaps even a bit of the demand spilled into Indianapolis, which is 2 hours away. Thinking about these past couple of slides and comparing them with what I've been seeing in customer sentiment, it seems a bit more optimistic, the level of booking that we're seeing. People are committing to travel. And not only that, they're selecting destinations that will put them in crowds and involve long flights. It's too early to know how widespread and how durable this view of consumer behavior is, but I'm keeping my eye on it. Over the years, I've seen surveys where people say they'll do one thing and then actually do another. One of my colleagues calls it the say-do gap. And travel seems to be particularly prone to that delta between human planning and expectation and actual action. These trends have all been focused on the US. We're doing similar analyses for EMEA. I think some of the consumer behavior, some of that gap between what people say in sentiment, what we might be seeing in the bookings may prove out there. But I did want to I know folks do dial in from EMEA and from APAC and let you know that we're looking at these same trends and hope to have more information soon for those regions. We do have one slide looking at the APAC region, focusing on what types of destinations are proving resilient. And we found that Okinawa, a popular beach and golf destination, has remained relatively robust, even as other destinations in Japan have flattened out. Here, both volumes are indexed to January 5. We see that at its peak, late in January, Okinawa has increased to 185, an index of 185, while the rest of Japan was still at about 100. It's more apparent at the end of March, where I've got my cursor now here. Okinawa was at 115, and the rest of Japan was down at an index of 25. As we begin to see bursts of demand for the summer months, many of our clients are looking for guidance about how to set the right course. Here's a quick framework for laying out the transitions in 3 stages. We've been in the maintain stage, that first one to the left, and it's beginning to look like it's appropriate to transition to the engage stage. And one day in the unpredictable future, we'll move to a new normal and reset. A few things to keep in mind for each stage. In maintain, it's about keeping your brand in consumers' mind. And a lot of brands have been doing this well, expressing concern and appreciation for their customers, finding ways to help them experience their brand at home. That's why you see cookies in the background here. It's an homage to DoubleTree for sharing their closely guarded recipe for chocolate chip cookies. During this first phase, some companies are taking the opportunity to build up their internal processes, establishing scenario testing platforms, or looking for new and back testing new data sources. In the last row, many brands are keeping visible by communicating with loyalty members, advising on program changes and updates on availability. As we transition into capturing these bursts of demand, the emphasis will have to be on health and safety. There's already been a lot of coverage in the press on new cleaning and disinfecting processes. For some travelers, there may also be an element of indulgence after being cooped up for so long. And of course, there's going to be a need for flexibility. Internally for marketing, we expect more emphasis on what-if analyses, models, and more focus not just on bringing back existing customers, but capturing high-value travelers that are now more likely to switch brands after a long hiatus from traveling. The last column covers a period when we've reached some level of stabilization into the new normal, whatever that turns out to be. We'll likely have rolled out new demand forecasting and pricing tools to adapt, new loyalty programs. Travel companies will be looking to broaden their appeal to diverse segments that are now traveling. Internally, they'll be focused on tuning the new processes and measurement systems that went in place earlier. And in terms of the types of travel, we'll be expanding our focus from domestic and point-to-point international travel to a broader range of destinations.